Welcome to Good Morning Cannabis. I have the lovely Lisa Gora, who is a fabulous cannabis attorney. And before we get started, Lisa, question we always ask on this show is, what is the craziest thing that's ever happened to you, or the most memorable thing that ever happened to you?
Well, I always share this story because this is one of my most exciting client memories. I'm a healthcare and cannabis attorney, and healthcare at the core. I represent, hospitals, medical practices, and so forth. And one time, I had a client take me with him to negotiate a transaction to Poland, and I'm 100% Polish. I speak it, read it, and write it. And so we go to Poland. We fly first class, first off. Then we end up going to Warsaw, Poland, to meet with some owners of a very reputable hospital in Warsaw that is looking to partner with an American hospital so they can say Warsaw Hospital doing business in the United States, right? So they have the expertise and knowledge of American doctors. Nonetheless, during this wonderful, exciting transaction, the owner of the hospital said, why don't you guys come over to my house this weekend and we'll just discuss business a little bit more. He told us to meet him at one specific location and said that his driver would pick us up. Well, we get to the location and it is his private helicopter that is waiting for us at this remote location. And myself and my client get into the helicopter, and it flies us over to his private compound, which is outside Warsaw, the city of Warsaw. So here we go, about 20 minutes in a helicopter, and all I'm thinking to myself is, what am I doing in this helicopter? And how exciting is it that I'm going to this man's now private villa outside the skirts of Warsaw, Poland? So that was definitely one of my most memorable, exciting moments, I guess, in my career. And hopefully I'll have more of those.
Yeah, that's great. Wow, I didn't realize that. That is quite an experience. I have not been yet picked up by a helicopter and taken to another place. But tell us a little bit about, yourself and the firm you're with before we start getting into some more specifics about what you're seeing in the cannabis industry.
Sure. So again, my name is Lisa Gora, and I am a partner with the law firm of Epstein, Becker, and Green. I practice in the healthcare and cannabis space. Healthcare, what that means is that I represent hospitals, medical practices, substance use clinics, mental health clinics, alternative treatment centers, any type of healthcare facility. That is what it means to be a healthcare attorney, but I work on the corporate and transactional side. So whenever there is any type of merger and acquisition that's going on with a healthcare facility, that is where I get engaged, and I do the fun work of negotiating the deal, the transaction. So I am not an attorney that goes before a judge or litigates any matters. I am purely in front of the documents, preparing the documents, negotiating the documents, and looking out for my clients' regulatory compliance. And so that was just a natural intersection into the cannabis space.
So what are you seeing in the cannabis industry we're currently in New Jersey, but New York and perhaps the whole East Coast? What's the trends? As an attorney, what are some of your concerns? How have you been advising your clients?
Yeah, I mean, so in the cannabis space right now, specifically in New Jersey, as you're well aware, there is a licensing process that's going on. So I represent various startups to already well-developed multi-state operators that are looking to get into the New Jersey cannabis industry. So from a day-to-day, I'm on the phone discussing how to, strategies with regards to people wanting to set up their companies from the beginning in order to apply for their licenses in New Jersey. In New Jersey, I would say right now it's the licensing process that is the hottest topic with regards to then the municipalities that are opting in or opting out. Various municipalities are now changing their positions to from opt out to now opt in. And so I also am trying to navigate those airwaves with my clients so that we understand, well, where is it that they're capable of getting property? So that's more the local scene. On a more statewide and national level, I'm seeing the topic of medicinal cannabis and whether it's affordable or not affordable. I participate in all of the CRC's public meetings, and it's very well known that lots of patients are indicating that the cost of medicinal cannabis still needs to be hopefully come down a little bit. And so I think that we really need, from a national perspective, we need some assistance in making sure that the cost of medicinal cannabis comes down, and hopefully is offset by some other avenues.
Right. Have you been hearing from any clients or from outside folks that with the alternative treatment centers being allowed to sell now for adult use or recreational, that it's affecting the supply, or have you heard that at all?
No, I have actually heard that there's still the supply that exists for both the recreational market and the medicinal cannabis market. And I was happy to hear that there still is the priority for medicinal patients to get their medicinal cannabis from the alternative treatment centers that are now getting what's called the expanded ATC license so that they can sell in the recreational market. I just think that given the limited number of dispensaries that are selling, the supply will be limited until there's additional dispensaries that come online or come on board. And as more dispensaries come on board, then hopefully the cost of medicinal cannabis will come down. So certainly what I'm hoping to see for the medicinal cannabis market, kind of just thinking futuristic, I hope that we will see that medicinal cannabis will be covered as a covered benefit by some insurance carriers. If not, hopefully dispensaries will look to hopefully offset those costs for medicinal cannabis so that the patients will still remain a priority in the state of New Jersey. Because I think that's first and foremost the most important thing that needs to be done in New Jersey is, yeah, we love the recreational market. It's going to generate tax revenue for the state, but the entire genesis of the cannabis market in New Jersey is the medicinal cannabis market. And it's the importance for the medicinal cannabis patients to be able to get their supply. So hopefully as more dispensaries come on board, then the cost will come down. And if not, then the dispensary should certainly look to partner with various companies that are looking to offset those costs, such as Cannabis Health, which is one of the companies in New Jersey that's looking to assist and partner up with dispensaries so that medicinal cannabis patients can certainly continue to afford their medicine.
That's great. So Lisa, how did you get into the cannabis space? I know that it has something to do with your healthcare practice, but was there any other interest that got you into cannabis?
No, it was certainly my healthcare practice. About 5 years ago, originally, one of my dermatology practice groups came to me, and it was a bunch of dermatologist doctors that came and said, hey, we're thinking or considering of creating our own products using CBD or THC. How do we do that? And so as soon as I got that first question from those clients, I said, you know what, that is a great question. I'm going to look into that and I'm going to figure out the answer for you. And so that was really my first step into the cannabis space, was just trying to figure out how some of my medical practice clients can actually get involved in the cannabis space. So that turned to, well, can MDs actually have ownership in dispensaries and alternative treatment centers? Are there any ownership restrictions or limitations for them to own? And will it affect their medical license? Will it affect their DEA license? So all of the healthcare considerations that were at play, I wanted to know how it would affect my healthcare clients if they got into the cannabis space, whether it's through ownership or even just making recommendations of cannabis for medicinal purposes.
Well, this has been really great. So Lisa, if someone wants to get a hold of you, where should they go? Where, any sites that they should find? Or
Yes, of course. Certainly go on Google and you will be able to get me through elgora@ebglaw.com with the law firm of Epstein, Becker, and Green. Or alternatively, you can also find me through elgora@benabishealth.com, and you can hit me up with 2 emails.
Wonderful. 2 for the price of 1. So I'm going to sign off at this point and thank you for being part of Good Morning Cannabis, and we'll have another chat very soon.
Thanks for having me.